Changemakers, and welcome to The Core, sponsored by Red Apple EdCo. This is your Everything Education podcast. We talk about current events, books to read. We interview education leaders, hear their stories, learn from their biggest lessons, and they share what they wish you knew about what it means to be in education today. I'm your host, Dr. Kia Turner. Buckle up for small seeds of inspiration that can lead to big changes in your classroom practice. Let's take a bite out of today's guest. Hi, you guys. It is Dr. Kia here with the entire NerdCamp Kansas team. I am in Heston, honey. Heston, 3 hours from Kansas City. And I'm going to say it in every single vlog because I was unaware that there was anything more than 90 minutes from the city. And now I have to come back every year because this team is amazing. In case you did not know, and what I just found out today, actually, as a result of the education I'm receiving, NerdCamp is a little bit different from EdCamp, and we're going to get into that just a second. And so this one is focused entirely on literacy, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you could just introduce yourselves, tell us like your name and where you work, then we can start that way before I jump into, y'all know, my top 5. Okay, go ahead.
I am Danae Kaufman, and I teach first grade here in Heston.
I'm Megan Coleman. I teach 7th grade language arts here in Heston.
I'm Rachel Harder, and I teach 4th grade in Bueller.
And I am Rachel Yoder, and I am the librarian at the middle school and high school here in Heston.
Oh, you have a pretty diverse team. And that kind of explains the diversity, which I'll get is, I'm going to stop previewing it with you guys. So my first question is, I'm like, because there's a lot of different, you guys aren't here, obviously, which is why I'm here. There are like librarians here. I think there are a couple of administrators even here, real life, honest to God, children's authors here. And then you guys will see my vlog with the bookstore owner, Watermark Books, is here from Wichita, Kansas as well. It's just a really good mix of people connected to education. So the first question is, why a nerd camp? First, tell us the difference between nerd camp and ed camp, and then tell us why you chose to do a nerd camp.
Well, an ed camp and nerd camp are almost the same things. The only difference is that an ed camp is kind of all education, whatever topics education-wise you want to learn about. Nerd camp is all literacy-based, so books, illustrations, literacy instruction of any sort. So hence, and it started from the Nerdy Book Club website, which was started by Donalyn Miller and Colby Sharp. So that's where the nerd came in.
I'm putting that resource below you guys, just in case you're like me and had never heard of that. I didn't know about the Nerdy Book Club. Is it a literal book club you all were in?
No, you just join if you want. Like it's
you just say you remember if you love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you just say you like it and you're part of it. And then there's Twitter feeds, there's blogs from different educators every week.
And Donalyn and Colby do a Twitter chat once a month called Title Talk, where they talk about books.
All kinds of resources. I'm putting that resource below the vlog to you guys.
So that's another connecting point to the Nerdy Book Club.
What made you all say, we want to focus on literacy? And then how did all 4 of you come to get on board? Because you're not even all doing elementary. You're not even all doing regular classroom stuff. How did you come together as a team, and why literacy?
Rachel Yoder. You go.
Well, so we came together because we all love literacy. I think I can speak for all of us to say that it's our passion. Several years ago, or the summer before we started our first Nerd Camp here, I had read an article in School Library Journal talking about Nerd Camp Michigan, which is the original Nerd Camp. It's where it all began. Oh. And then how you can start your own. And I said, Michigan is a long way away.
More than 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'll do it, but it's long.
Yeah.
We need one in Kansas. And so I emailed these 3 because I knew that we were all kindred spirits with our passion for literacy. And eventually they agreed. And we got it going.
Several teacher bribes later. You're like, okay, fine. We'll do it.
Coffee.
Yeah. What do you all do to plan for this? How do you conceptualize this? This is year 2, you guys, I think.
Year 3.
It was year 3, like I told you all. It's year 3. So this is year 3. Like, I feel like this is so intense and intricate that it takes a lot of planning on the part of the 4 of you. What does it look like? Tell us.
We start, like after Nerd Camp, then we start planning for next year.
Wow.
And we meet probably once a month for most of the year. And then once January hits, we start meeting a couple times a month. And then we're finishing up the school year and kind of scrambling. And then we're meeting a lot.
We've seen a lot of each other the last few years.
And we still all like each other. So that's good.
Yeah.
And we've all kind of taken each of our different roles. So
That's
that
what I was
we
gonna
kinda know
ask, yeah.
Who does what, and that's Rachel's job or that's Danae's job, and that way.
Or Megan's job.
Or
Some
Megan.
things are
Yes,
Megan's
yes.
job.
I didn't want to.
Megan's like, hey.
Megan has a lot of important jobs.
Yeah.
How do you all select the authors? I can tell you, and you all aren't here to know this, but I'm going to catch them too. There are like not Native American, but Native Nation authors here who are speaking and talking about Native Nation literature. Have not seen such a diverse group. There are African American authors here as well. There are authors who do just picture books, authors who do fiction, authors who do nonfiction, a really broad spectrum. It's #awesome, okay? How do you find these authors? How do you select them? I talked to Watermark Books, and she said it's not her because I was looking for the source. Y'all know I needed to know. She said it wasn't her, it was you guys.
It's all social media. So we have a NerdCamp Kansas account that we go on and follow authors and kind of just get our name out there. And then there's a form that authors can fill out if they're interested in attending, just saying like what they have written, what their passions are. And then we go through and select to make sure we have a diverse group, that we have representation from different cultural groups, as well as like book levels, so that we don't have all picture books or all YA. We don't want to have 30 different authors because that would be a lot. So we kind of narrow it down from there.
Wow.
We
and
also try and find authors who live within driving distance.
That was my next question.
We do
I was
have
like,
a few outliers, like Jarrett from Boston and Marcy from California. But when we're kind of reaching out to authors, we try and find authors who live a little closer because we don't pay them anything for this. Like it is all on their own dime, or if their publisher chips in, they get that. But a lot of them are paying hotel room and gas and flights on their own. So we try to kind of look for authors in the area too. So it's
I have never heard of that.
Yeah.
They're just like, you guys are so amazing. Let me just pay for myself to come down there. They're like, of course I'm going to come, you guys. I'll totally pay my way.
You did it.
I did. Okay, she did. I needed to know. I paid because there was such a good social media buzz. Like I told you guys. It was just like tweet after tweet, NerdCamp Kansas. And I was like, I have got to find out. And then I went to like the, Weebly site or something. Yeah. There were like blog posts. And I was like, oh, it's on. It's on. I got to know. So then tell me, what are you seeing happen as a result of NerdCamp that excites you? Like sort of a fallout or ripple effect. And even if it hasn't fully shown up yet, you're seeing sort of evidence of it happening now? Tell me one thing, maybe, or two.
I think a lot of it, for me at least, has been the community that we're creating. And it's not necessarily connecting with people in your district, but it's looking outside your district in the state. Even further than that, what are you doing and how are you doing this? And having that conversation, solving problems that way, getting to know more people.
Would you all agree with that too?
Yeah.
So tell us one resource you think every educator, besides NerdCamp, one resource every educator should know about and could definitely, no matter the grade level, take advantage of if they want to improve literacy in their classroom, in their building, in their library. One resource. And you can each take a resource. So do that. You don't have to agree on one.
You say this.
You want to jump out there like, I'm using this one.
This is what came to mind first. I probably will. We all sort of think alike. So.
Well, you've been together now for 3 years. It's a relationship at this point. You're like, we're together.
I want to say novel engineering to bring in the STEM connection. It is a website and kind of a process of bringing in the engineering design process to go with books of all picture books through, I don't know if there are any YA, but definitely middle grade books on that website where kids can solve problems that are presented in the books in a very hands-on 3D way. It's really cool.
It's like Makerspace meets literature.
Yes.
Oh.
So you're building something for a character that their problem is in the book. And then you're maybe changing the plot. So then how would that change the flow?
That is incredible. We're putting that below. That goes below. You can't see my other hand, you guys. That goes below.
I have can I share two?
Please do.
Okay, so of course, I think the thing that changed my teaching is Donalyn Miller's books. Book Whisperer and Reading in the Wild. So that's more elementary based. Book Love would be one for more secondary by Penny Kittle. Those books were just life-changing in my classroom for me and my students.
Wow.
And then another thing would just be having books available. Like, I feel like teachers don't have enough books, and part of that is money and resources, but giving kids books and access to books is huge.
Agreed.
I'd agree with that. To tag on to Rachel's books, Read Aside by Kelly Gallagher is another really good one for.
Can you spell that for us?
Read Aside, ReadiCide.
Oh, okay.
The subtitle is How Schools Are Killing Reading and What We Can Do About It. So it connects a lot to the Penny Kittles book club. I'm going to cheat a little bit because this one does not have K2 yet, but I'm betting they're working on it. I talked about this in a session earlier, but my favorite resource right now is commonlit.org.
Oh, yeah, you did. I was in that session.
Yep. Right after I fixed your daughter's hair.
Yes.
Then we talked about it.
Yes.
I don't have daughters of my own to fix their hair.
So it was good. So borrow her anytime. Go ahead.
So it's a site that has all kinds of text. It's rigorous text. It's a lot of short stories, poetry, it has nonfiction, it has speeches, it has some historical documents. They're organized by theme or by historical era or by type. It's a super well organized website. It's free, and every text has text dependent questions that come along with it that you can assign to kids. It connects to Google Classroom, so you can assign things through there. It's a really great website. They just added 3rd and 4th grade maybe a couple months ago. So I'm hoping that K2 is in the works so that I can share with everybody, but that's my favorite.
Okay.
I think mine, for me, I would agree with what Rachel said, getting books in kids' hands. And to piggyback on that, getting out of their way so that they can read and pick their own text and giving them time to do that and really getting out of their way. Like I see their reading explode and their excitement and their passion for reading when me as the teacher stops talking.
I love that.
So,
and I have to say one more thing.
Yeah.
As the librarian of the group, I know not every school has a school librarian, but I think it's really important for teachers to connect to whatever librarian they have access to, whether that's in a school or public. We, as the librarian group, really want to help kids find books that they want to read. It's the best part about being in a library. And so forming that relationship, teacher and librarian relationship, is really powerful too. Classroom libraries. I saw something somewhere that a classroom library is like a little teaser to a school library.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
The bigger that is, the world is opened up once they get to another library. So really focusing on that too. I just have to put that plug in.
That's okay. And then last thing, what is a parting thought that you would like to leave people with when it comes to literacy and education? Like one message you definitely want to put out there, i.e., teacher, get out of the way. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be mine. Teacher, get out of the way.
It can be as simple as that. Or I heard in a session with an author where she said, it's perfectly fine if the kid reads below book level, as long as they love it.
Yes.
So thinking in that kind of a vein, what's one message or maybe one thought that rolls around for you when you think about literacy and education?
Teacher, get out of the way.
I love that. I think that's a really good one.
I have so many thoughts. One, if you ask your students to do it, then you should be able to do it too. If you are assigning book reports or tests after books, are you going to do the same thing and read the books that they do?
I like that.
For me, my goal is to create readers for life. So what are we doing to help kids become real readers? Helping them find things that is going to take them beyond. I'm in a middle school and high school when kids get really busy. And they tell me all the time, I like to read, I just don't have time. Yeah. Well, what are we doing to create that reader for life so that when they're out of school, they can still come back to it?
Oh, I like that. All right, Megan.
Okay. I would say make it matter. Like literacy instruction, we talk about, especially at the secondary level, like your content is reading and writing, like if you're an ELA teacher. And so I can have kids read and write about anything. And so to me, it's really important that it's something that matters either to them or is connected to things that are happening in the world or current events. Yeah, just make it matter. Make it something that's meaningful in some way.
Well, thank you. All right, you guys. The NerdCamp Kansas team has to get back to their authors. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you all for
Thank
taking out
you
your
so much.
See you guys next time. That's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to The Core. Wherever you are listening to us, be sure to like our show, subscribe, and share the episode that's meant the most to you. We appreciate every single one of our subscribers, as do our sponsors. We look forward to seeing you next week. You can also check us out on YouTube at Red Apple Edco. If you'd like to see more video of these conversations, we have them posted there.